Hey, how you doing? Clint Maximus here for Where's the Beef Gamer podcast. Today we are checking out our beef review of Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. So managed to get a copy for PlayStation 5 and it's also available on Xbox Series X as well. So where to begin? I've already been a big fan of Devil May Cry 5 when it came out in, I think it was around March time in 2019. It was one of my top 5 games of that year. Devil May Cry 5 was already a good looking game. I love the graphics engine that Capcom are using for this game. It's the RE engine. It was built for Resident Evil 7. It was used for the original DMC 5 back in 2019, and it was used in the Resident Evil remakes 2 and 3. So I think one of the realizations of this game is that when I started playing, I think this is ultimately the best way to play it is on next gen. The original game already looked great. Combat and gameplay was very, very smooth. Story was good and loved the characters. Is it worth actually buying on next gen? I think it is. First up, let's talk about the performance and ray tracing. If you're going to hit performance mode, obviously your frame rates are going to be up, but for me personally, and I've got a thing for the ray tracing right now. I love to see how games look with, of course, the lighting, the reflection, and this is just one of those games that really, really stands out. When you're walking around environments and just really taking it all in, you can see the developers have really put a lot of love into this next-gen version of the game. Let's take a look at combat. Combat is as slick and as smooth as ever. This is one of the big selling points of that franchise. It's all about timing, combos, and just getting those moves right. Load times are super fast. In fact, I think they're pretty much non-existent. It's like boom, you start playing. It's super, super fast how this game loads up. When you open up the main menu, you have different types of modes and stories that you can actually play. For example, you can play the original game where you play as Dante, Nero, and of course V. There's also turbo mode where things are literally speeded up. I was a bit overwhelmed and confused at first, I'll be honest with you, but I did get my head around it and it took me a little while to get used to it. But I can see this being a big thing, especially for veteran gamers, and you want something a bit fresh and something a bit new. Also, Legendary Dark Knight mode is very cool as well. It kind of reminds me of Dynasty Warriors. Takes full advantage of the performance mode in the next-gen system. Keep in mind, during turbo mode and Dark Knight mode, you can't use ray tracing, by the way. Obviously because they need to keep those frame rates right up. But going back to Legendary Dark Knight mode, they just literally throw so many enemies at you and it just, that console holds very well. Just really shows off the performance, whether you're playing on Xbox or PlayStation. And one of the biggest additions to the game is you get to play as Virgil. In terms of new story content, there's not much. You might get a few cutscenes, that's about it from the beginning until the end. You will go through the same scenarios as you would when you play the regular game, but again, you play as Virgil. But him as a character, he's good. Super, super cool. Very calm, very collective. I love how he fights. I love the way he switches from his sword to his fists. And also, if you do decide to do the Virgil story mode, you won't be shifting through different characters. You will stick with Virgil throughout the entire game. And since I'm doing this review, I do have one thing, but I do want to address. What is that? I don't want to sound rude, but you know, if I went to a doctor and something like that was oozing out of me, I would definitely think there's something wrong. And the fact that you're putting like a tick in there, yeah. It looks like some kind of, I don't know, some form of infection. Devil May Cry 5 was already a beautiful, good-looking game. So whether you're a fan of the original series or if you've played DMC 5 before or even if you haven't, there's definitely something there for you. I think hands down, this is by far the best way to experience Devil May Cry 5. To be playing it on next gen just sort of opens the doors to show you just what to expect in the coming years, especially with these hack and slash action games. I really cannot wait to see what comes up next. What do I give it? Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition gets a massive 9 over 10 for me. Don't forget to join us on our official Instagram page and online. Just look for Where's the Beef Gamer podcast and definitely join me on my official Instagram page, which is @ClintMaximus.